All right, what's going on with this dingbat? Let's see. Libs of TikTok. People are now identifying as gender season. Gender season. Do you guys feel like a season today? Or maybe you feel like like spring in the morning and then winter at night, maybe? I guess that would make sense. Which means your gender is connected to and can change depending on the season. We have a serious mental health crisis in this country. Are they just confusing mood with gender? Is that what it is? Like, is this desperate attempt to seem different or ultimately oppressed, right? Because the only people that aren't oppressed, apparently, are straight white men. So you don't want to be that. And you definitely don't want to be what they call cisgender, which none of us voted on that, by the way. Nobody asked us about this whole cisgender thing. They just decided that's what we are now. I reject it entirely, of course, because I think it's retarded. Gender season. They seem to be confusing just like personality or mood for gender so that they can get in on some of the oppression bucks, you know? You got to be oppressed. If you say you're non-binary or something, now you're part of the oppressed class, right? Oppression is the coin of the realm because nobody wants to be an oppressor. Nobody wants that. You know, it's very enticing for stupid people with no personality or talents. You can just adopt a personality. I'm gender season. Aren't I interesting? I'm not sure you are. I'm not sure that you are. Anyway, let's have a look at what this obvious dingbat has to say.
Did you know, however, there is a gender identity that is linked to the seasons?
Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know that. Did you know that everything you believe in is made up gibberish?
This is called gender season. And this is a gender identity I've only just learnt about. It's a micro identity. It's not an identity that I have ever heard discussed before. It's a new one for me.
Maybe that's because it was just made up by a lunatic 5 minutes ago.
Gender season is an individual who explores their gender identity in relation to a season or all the seasons. So this might be somebody whose gender expression and identity is linked to one season. So for example, winter. Or this might be somebody whose gender identity and expression changes depending on the season.
So let's see. The way you feel might change based on the seasons. I've never heard of that before. So you might feel a little bit different when summer comes along than you do in the middle of dark, rainy, stormy winter. Well, that's fantastic. Wow. I mean, what a discovery this person's made. You know, it must be some sort of special gender. You know, I guess, what if like when you're cold, there must be a gender for that, right? These are just boring people with no talent and nothing interesting about themselves who are just latching onto this thing that gives them an insta personality. Let's see. Rogue Thought says hours of indoctrination each day does this. Yeah. But I mean, it's such an easy thing for them to fall into, right? Being interesting or being accomplished, being good at things, for instance, being noticed because you're a great musician, for instance, is hard. It takes a lot of work. Right? Being knowledgeable about something is hard. It takes a lot of work. And if people don't want to do the work, well, here's something for them. Dye your hair red and call yourself gender season. I love how, like, I keep seeing these videos of people who discovered what they are, you know, so they just heard a new word. One was like apagender, some guy, apagender. And apagender is apathetic gender, so just somebody who's apathetic, you know. And it was wonderful because he discovered that his entire life, he's always been this word he just heard 5 minutes ago, this made-up word he just heard 5 minutes ago. I wonder if anybody has something to say about this. It's a gender I just heard about when someone else in the psych ward showed me her Mad Libs result. Oh my God, it keeps getting worse. But it just keeps getting more banal is the thing. Like it keeps getting more boring as they just keep searching for something to make them different, slightly different from all of the other weirdos. I have to be different. The more different I am, the more oppressed I am. And that's good. Being oppressed is good. Not being oppressed is bad. It must be so exhausting living in that world. Well, it seems like these people, all they think about is themselves. Like it's just pure narcissism. It's just all navel gazing.